Hey, Bucs fans. So your Tampa Bay Buccaneers fall to the Washington Commodores, or Commanders as other people call them, 23-20. Disappointing game for us. There's a lot to be learned from it. Let's be honest. For me, and I'm just talking about me specifically, I felt like the game was kind of done the moment Baker kind of dropped that fumble. Now we had opportunities to go and try and win that game back, but kind of felt like that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and it's very disappointing because it's an unforced error. Like, it's not like they did anything to kind of complement that. We just kind of gave them the ball back and allowed them to do their thing, and it was a very good defensive stand from Coach Bowles' defense to turn them over on fourth downs and things like that. And then to give the ball back to them was just hugely disappointing. Like, Mike Evans makes that great play where he stretches across, gets the first down, and we're like, okay, here we go. This is the one. This is the one. We get a touchdown here, it's game over. And it's not. Baker tries to hand the ball off to McMillan. I believe his elbow or some shit, or shoulder, elbow, clip the ball when the ball comes out, and they come away with it. It's just disappointing. It's disgusting. I don't think Baker's the bad quarterback, and I still think he's the quarterback for the Buccaneers. I do, and there's multiple reasons why. Mainly because I think he fits the Buccaneers. I think he's had a great season. I think he will get better. Can't. And here's the thing I always say in everything about football. Move on. But move on to who? It's all well and good going, why don't you get rid of Baker Mayfield? Okay. You're going to get rid of Baker Mayfield for who? Insert name here. And there ain't going to be anyone you can insert in there. I'm 90% sure. Some of you will have some wild ideas. Some of you will think we can trade fucking every pick that we've got to go and get the overall pick in the draft, or it's Shedeur Sanders or whoever. It's not. It's Baker Mayfield. It's Baker Mayfield. It's Baker Mayfield. He's just got to get better in those situations. He personifies everything about Buccaneer football. I love the kid. That was a shit play. It was genuinely a shit play. KGH for life. I mean, I'll have to look at the stats, but I'm going to go with this. They only scored 23 points, so at some point they must have kicked something or missed something or done something. But they failed on fourth down. It's the same fucking thing. Golden National Media is going to kiss JD's ass. And rightfully so. He played a decent game. He was pretty solid. Look, we have nothing to be ashamed about in this game, but we did cost ourselves. That game was firmly in Buccaneers' hands. We lost it. The Commanders didn't do anything specifically that beat us. It was an arm wrestle of a game. Straight up. It's probably the best game of the wild card so far. And I know that's not a great thing to hear because we lost. But this team's fucking competitive, and I'm not going to call for Bowles' job. I'm not. I do think that mainly because the decisions that he made that were bad, i.e. waiting a millennium to fucking call a timeout or waiting 10 seconds, didn't make a difference. In the grand scheme of things, it made no fucking difference. Okay? That's the only reason why. This Buccaneer team did the best thing. I think if you put in an elite pass rusher in there and another linebacker, I think we come away with this like a good solid win. Offense did enough. Mike Evans was great. It was fun to see him beat the shit out of Lattimore. Lattimore had a bad day versus Mike Evans, but he ultimately we lost. It was good to see Mike Evans get that shine, you know. I think it's got to be the clock management towards the end of the game in the first half from Bowles is another point. I could be wrong. There was clock management issues, but I don't think in the grand scheme of things it made that much of a difference. That's the thing. When it costs you and it costs you big, then yeah, you feel it. But I don't think any of the decisions really made that much of a difference. Off the top of my head, like I'm coming off this live, so like it's not like I've sat here and plotted out every note. But let's go into this game. The Buccaneers start off the first quarter. They scored the first points of the game. They go 3-0. They go into the second quarter. It's 10-7. The team squares off at 10-10 at the half. Buccaneers come out and score a touchdown. Commanders go and get themselves a field goal. And then the Commanders get themselves a field goal, a touchdown, and the Buccaneers can only muster up a field goal. Look, the Buccaneers have got to be better. They've got to be better in that situation. They've got to do things much smarter. I thought Kalijah Kancey had good penetration. I just wish he finished a couple of those. He just finishes half of what he missed. You could be looking at a very different game. But, you know, this is a year 2 player, not expecting the world, and he's a defensive lineman. This is a guy who's like 180 pounds chasing after a guy who's probably a buck fucking 19, buck 90, right? With like 4.4 speed. This is a bit of a difference. So he's running laterally. You expect somebody to come up and make that play as he pushes him out. I think he had great pressure on him. He just missed a few times. If he just connects on some of those, it's a different ball game. Generally, like when I look back at this game, the Buccaneers were hotting up, man. They just ran out of time and they just couldn't get the job done because of that. The pressure of the clock got to them and they made mistakes. Generally, if they would have had time on the clock a good minute or so, I think they could have marched down the field and done their thing. I generally do. But they didn't, and credit to the Washington Commanders for getting their first playoff win in a while, and deservedly so. Unfortunately, it's off our backs, and we have to get better. Now we see what the coaching carousel looks like. Do the Buccaneers make a change at head coach? I don't know. Right now, I think if Liam Cohen wants to stay, I don't think you do anything. I think if you're the Buccaneers, you stay still. Keep it as it is. You've got some greatness here. You've got the right OC. Don't fuck with it. Add to it. Just add to it. And by adding to it, I'm talking about adding players. Let's get Chris Godwin back. Let's look at a dynamic pass rusher. Let's look at a linebacker that can take over Levante David if he decides to hang it up. Let's look at two. If both of he decides to hang it up and there's no one else there. Well, you got Savassia Dennis, and we all like Savassia Dennis. But the Buccaneers like Savassia Dennis too. You need to get one. Pass rushers, one of those guys. And the rest, I'm looking at depth at corner. I'm looking at depth at safety. And I'm looking at depth at pass rusher. That defensive line is complete. Now, some of you are going to look at me going, that defensive line didn't generate enough sacks. Yes, it did. That defensive line overcompensated. Kalijah Kancey, Vita Vea, Greg Gaines, or whoever out, Logan Hall, whoever you want to put there, they are not pass rushers. In a 3-4 scheme, if Yaya Diaby picks that ball, it's a completely different game. Potentially. I mean, we don't know, but it's definitely a catalyst to that. There are things that and that's just football, man. That's football. But I think the thing that irritates me is that Yaya's mispick is just that happens in football, right? That happens. People sometimes don't cling on to the ball, so people don't always hold on right. What I'm saying here is Baker Mayfield's fumble was avoidable. It was a timing thing. It was an accuracy thing. It was an execution thing. It was a poorly executed play, and we paid for it. Other than that, this game was like, if you took the Buccaneers out of this and you insert any other team's name in, maybe one that you don't hate, this was a fun game to watch. It was competitive to the end. The Buccaneers were in it until the end. It was disappointing that we didn't get the job done. The Buccaneers now have to go into draft mode. We're all going to sit there and do our mock drafts and try and figure shit out. Who do we go after? But I think we know, in my opinion, Baker's the quarterback. If Liam Cohen stays as the OC, you've got to keep Coach Bowles around too. I'm not going to turn around and say we got to go and get rid of Coach Bowles. If you look at the stats, his defense gave up yards for the pass significantly throughout this season, and they weren't great at it. But the rest of his defense has been mid-table or better. And I think if you add some clout, some pass rushing finesse, some dudes, generally think this defense could be even better. I'd love for Lavonte David to stick around for one more season, but I don't know what that looks like. Because if you can bring him in, get a premier pass rusher, trade up, or leverage picks, I don't mind you using 2 first-rounders. If it means you get a guy that you know can get the job done, go and use 2 first-round picks. Go use 2 first and a third. Because I think you get that premier pass rusher and you put a legit dude next to Lavonte David, this defense will look entirely different. And I mean that. I love this team to pieces. It's been a privilege to watch this team. I always love my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I love seeing my Mike Evans get his 1,000 yards. And I love seeing us in the postseason. Division championship. But we were now getting to the point where Buccaneers fans want more. We just want more. And Bowles, I know you ain't watching this. You're a busy man. You got the shit to do. But if you were, my thing to you is go find you that cat and whatever it takes. And I'm talking a pass rusher. You need to have somebody who scares the shit out of quarterbacks. We ain't got anybody on that team. You add someone like that, the teeth on this team rises significantly. And it makes life easier for your defensive backs, for your Jamal Deans, for your Zion McCullums. It makes their lives easier because now they got guys who are making a quarterback stare down the barrel of a gun. You play that with that non-cushion coverage, and Bowles, I want you to work on this. I want you to work on man press, zone press, every different version of press, every different version of standard coverage, and just manipulate it. Whether they show it, back off, come down, all of it. I want to see the motion, the movement of your corners to confuse and disorient on what coverage we're going to fucking run. That's what I want to see. I don't think your corners did that bad of a job. I really don't. They could be better. But you got to back off that cushion coverage. You've got to find a way not to live in that because that will not serve your purpose. You will not win a championship with that coverage. Whether your corners are 8 yards off, 10 yards off, you ain't going to win a championship off that Bowles. Not saying I know better than you, I really don't, but I just don't feel it's there. If you want me to come down to Tampa and we can talk ball, I'd love to pick your brain and learn football from you 100%. And maybe I can help you in some sort of way. I don't know. I'm not saying I got the answers. I'm just saying I want to understand. Because when I look at this team and I see corners backing off 8 to 10 yards, and it's 5 quick outs that are being caught and quick slants that are being caught, and I'm like, well, clearly, what wouldn't you do if someone was giving you that look? You got a guy 8 to 10 yards off of you. Of course, you're going to make them run a fucking 0, 3 yard, 5 yard slant because they're going to catch it at 6 and fall over and get 8 yards. There we go. First down's done. But the Buccaneers have to find a way. Offensively, I think we were pretty much there. I think you just got to develop what we got there. Second year in the system, this team could be so much more explosive. Fucking love this team. And we are capable of so much more. This game is a bit of a dud for us. We shouldn't have been one and done. That's disappointing. That's what makes this a bitter pill to swallow. We shouldn't have been one and done. I could have swallowed losing the next one like this. It's tough to swallow this one. But Bucs fans, keep the faith. Keep the control. Yeah, just to call, absolutely, the turnover was huge. You can't turn over the ball in that situation. You just got the ball back. You can't just give it back to them. Eventually, they'll come up with the points that they need to get to win the game. And they did. I fucking love this team and what it's capable of. Now, there was a lot of talk about should we carry on with Coach Bowles. I'm going to say this. Coach Bowles hasn't steered us wrong yet. We're not in Schitt's Creek. We haven't missed the playoffs. And we're on a 4th division championship. I'm not saying he gets a free pass. I'm saying he needs to reevaluate and sort his shit out. Because for the most part, I liked what he was calling today. But we are down players. We're missing a few bits and pieces. This is probably the strongest we've been, in all fairness. But you've got guys coming back from injury. They don't know. They're not playing at 100%. Don't fucking fool yourselves. This isn't fucking Madden. This isn't a guy who's just come back from a fucking injury, being off for 3 weeks, and he's just going to play lights out. Like he's back to his 87%. His 87 overall rating on Madden. He's probably playing closer to a 72. Right? With experience. The Buccaneers now need to find a way to beat in those things. We still got to think. We still got to fix the defense in the offseason. Absolutely, that's what I'm talking about, man. I feel we're a pass rusher, an inside linebacker, maybe 2 pass rushers if you want to go down that route. Depends on how you feel about other players on this team. But I think you put in a premier pass rusher and you put in, it all depends on Levante. I think if your Levante stays, you could go down the route of getting a linebacker and go and get yourselves another safety or a corner. Those would be my 3 picks. Pass rusher, safety or corner. Or a linebacker. One of those. They're the 4 picks. Ideally, it all depends on what you have faith in. I mean, when Dean went out, it did look a bit, but I don't think Josh Hayes played that badly. Like, they didn't pick on him. Like, I was really surprised they didn't try and throw loads of balls that way, and they didn't. They tried to run it, and they tried to be a bit cute, to be honest. Kind of played into our hands. It's just, unfortunately, we kind of cuffed up the ball in a position where it was going to be difficult to do that. I'm not going to bitch about officiating. I'm not that guy. I don't do that. That's what weak people do. Weak people bitch about officiating. Officiating weren't that bad. It's not as bad as we've seen it before. It's enough. The Bucs fans, get behind your team. Get ready for another season. It's disappointing. It's frustrating. It's not what you wanted. I know that. Because it's the same for me. I love this team. I love my Bucs. I'm going to get behind my Bucs. And I'm going to hope they're going to do the right thing. They're going to get me a pass rusher for my team. They're going to get me a linebacker. They're going to go and find a cornerback, some backup, someone who's going to compete with Dean and put some pressure on him. Because I generally feel that Zion McCollum stepped up. I really didn't think he would, but he did. And I think Dean's got it. I think Dean's been dealing with a lot of injury, and I think that's part of the reason why he's not playing as well. And another safety, because I am not convinced. I believe we've got one super solid safety, and the rest is just meh. Go find me a starter. And I'm ready to go. Bucs fans, enjoy it. I know the off-season's here way sooner than we wanted it to be. We won 4 straight division championships. That's special. Hasn't been done before. And it's our 5th time in the playoffs in a row. We've got the cap space. Draft pick won't be amazing, but maybe we can leverage something. Hopefully this time we'll be talking about having a pass rusher that's elite. Going to join this team and absolutely crush it. We don't know what's going to happen with Liam Cohen. I hope to God that he doesn't leave. By the way he's been speaking in the media, I do generally think Dean is a free agent. Well, Buccaneers are really going to think about that one because it's tough. It's genuinely a tough situation. I'm hoping Liam Cohen will stay, but by the way he's been speaking, I think if he's smart, let's be honest, don't rush. And I'm saying that from a Buccaneers fan perspective, but let's be realistic here. Don't rush. Build up your resume. Get some relationship going with the quarterback, which we know he has had. Have a second year. And then people go, oh, it's not just a fluke. Otherwise, you're going to go to the Jags. Or you're going to go to another team that's struggling, like a Raiders or a Patriots. If you do it another year, you may get the opportunity, and I mean this in an interesting way. You may get the opportunity to go and coach a better team that's in a better situation. Maybe it'll be the Bucs, maybe it'll be somebody else, but there will be a team that sheds a coach that's got talent. It just needs a little finesse to make it right. On that note, guys, Bucs on me, Bucs on free, and I will see you all at the aftermath, where we unpack this after we've all digested it just a little bit more. I will see you soon. Bucs on me, Bucs on free. 1, 2, 3, go Bucs!
I don't know what